Congressman.
It'll be very easy to predict where I'll come from because I am a member of the AFL-CIO, a local 600 of the IATSE. I've been working with unions my whole life. The right to organize is a basic right in a democratic society, and in a workers' White House under a Kucinich administration, the right to organize, the right to collective bargaining, the right to strike, the right to decent wages and benefits, the right to a safe workplace, the right to a secure retirement, the right to participate in the political process. These are all basic rights that will be the hallmark of a presidency by Kucinich. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Our next question will be for Governor Richardson. It's coming from an Iraq War veteran, Jim McGovern of Gwinn, Michigan. Jim.
Hello. After serving in Iraq for a year, I came home to find that my factory job at Maytag had closed and moved to Mexico. And that's not what I was hoping for when I came home from war. I was making good wages and benefits, and it was devastating to me and my family and our community, and after 3 years it still is. So what will you do to keep manufacturing jobs like mine from leaving the country?
Jim, thank you for your question. Thank you for your service. Governor?
I was just in your town. It's Newton, Iowa, and I met with many workers that lost those Maytag jobs. I would protect their pensions from this restructuring. I would protect their health care. What I would ensure that you have in the future is job protection, OSHA protection. What I would also say to you as an Iraqi war veteran, when you come home, I will have guarantees to protect our veterans, to fully fund VA hospitals, to deal with the issues like mental health and PTSD for thousands of our Iraqi and Afghanistan vets coming home, and something else I will do for all veterans. Today, you've got to get your health care at the VA. Sometimes it's 170 miles away. They're understaffed. They're not fully funded. I would guarantee funding for those VA hospitals. But I would also give you a hero's health card so that you in Iraqi, Afghanistan, all veterans can get health care in America anywhere you want. Anywhere you want.
Governor, thank you. Not everyone from the AFL-CIO who wanted to pose a question could come here. Many of them are at work. So by the internet, for Senator Dodd, from a patriot in Ohio, a member of an AFL-CIO affiliated union. Let me read the question, Senator. My 21-year-old daughter joined the Army Reserves after high school at the age of 19. She's currently a sergeant in the Army and is serving her 10th month in Iraq. With all the billions of dollars being spent on the war, I want to know why my daughter was forced to buy some of her own required uniform and other gear the Army didn't supply her. Also, in every war, active duty military normally were deployed for 6 months overseas. Why is the active reserves required to spend more than double this time in Iraq?
Well, first of all, thank you. I believe I'm the only candidate on this stage who actually served in the National Guard and Reserves back in the 1960s and 70s. So I have some understanding and feeling of what it means to be in uniform. Over the last 4 years, I've offered on 4 different occasions on the floor of the United States Senate, my colleagues are aware of this, efforts to see that body armor and equipment would be available for our troops on the ground in Iraq and Afghanistan, and on 4 individual occasions, I was rebuffed by Republicans in the United States Senate. This baloney about how they care for our troops in Iraq when they wouldn't be willing to stand up and provide the kind of protection they deserve is something I would never, ever tolerate as President of the United States. Our soldiers deserve to get the best we have to offer, not the Army they have, the very best they deserve. Certainly that family is a classic example of it.
Senator Dodd, thank you. Our next question will be for Senator Edwards from Steve Skvara of Indiana, and I apologize for making you wait so long, sir.
Not a problem. After 34 years with LTV Steel, I was forced to retire because of a disability. 2 years later, LTV filed bankruptcy. I lost 1/3 of my pension, and my family lost their health care. Every day of my life, I sit at the kitchen table across from the woman who devoted 36 years of her life to my family, and I can't afford to pay for her health care. What's wrong with America, and what will you do to change it?
Senator Edwards.
Bless you, first of all, for what you've been through. You're a perfect example of exactly what's wrong with America, both on pension protection and on health care. And we've unfortunately not been able to do the things that need to be done in this country. I have a very simple view about this. My view is that we ought to treat the pensions and the retirement of the chairmen and CEOs of companies exactly the way we treat every other worker in the company. That's what we ought to be doing. And we ought to have universal health care in this country. We need it in the worst kind of way so that when you're bargaining, you're not bargaining about health care costs. But I want to say one other thing. I intend to be the President of the United States who walks onto the White House lawn and explains to America how important unions and organized labor is to the future and the economic security of this country. It is fine to come up on this stage and give a nice talk. The question is, who's been with you in the crunch? In the last few years, 200 times, I have walked picket lines. I have helped organize thousands of workers with 23 national unions. I have worked with employers. Here's what you need to ask yourself. It's great to give a talk. Let me finish this.